Are you ready?
Oh, yeah!
Strap yourselves in for the Gaming Hub. With your hosts, Tyler.
You can't handle the truth!
Graham.
The force is strong in this one.
And Steven.
You cannot be serious!
Let's get started.
Alrighty then.
Welcome everybody to episode number 95 of the Gaming Hub. I'm your host Tyler, joined as always by our co-host. Let's start with Graham. Graham, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing good. I started out the week, by the week, I'm going to say after the last show, I went and checked out this little known movie in theaters called Infinity War. I watched it in its IMAX glory, and it was great. Not going to say what happened, except it was weird seeing Luke Skywalker show up and join the Avengers. I was not expecting that. Definitely threw me off.
Yeah.
As far as gaming goes, I've just played. Actually, another thing. Wow, that was a pretty eventful night. I finished God of War as well. I thought I had like 6 hours left at that point. Turns out I had like 45 minutes, maybe less than that. So I got through the end of that. Nothing is really compelling me to go back, and I really did no side quest whatsoever. And I expected the game to force me to do these quests to like level up so I could finish the game, but I didn't need to. And besides that, I played some Breath of the Wild. I've been recording some videos for YouTube. Hopefully some people have been out there, been watching it and been enjoying it. Hopefully. If not, well, I've been enjoying playing it.
So, Graham, question for you, and before I ask this, new email address, everybody, thegaminghubpodcast@gmail.com, and you'll need to know that. Again, the gaminghubpodcast@gmail.com. You'll need to know that when I ask Graham this question. So, Graham, does God of War in your eyes deserve a 10?
Oh, a 10. That's tough, man. To me, personally, I'm going to say no, because there's aspects of it which, it wasn't, just mind-blowing the whole way. I've played better games. It was a great game. The best part of the game was the story, by far, the story.
Okay.
So, but it had some amazing elements, but I don't know if I would give it a 10. It's tough, right? It depends what I'm basing on. Put me on the spot. Would I give it a 10? Because most people gave it a 10, so yes, I did play it. But then I played it just to get through it. I was kind of on a mission, and I just wanted to finish the story. So as far as sinking time in, no, it's not a 10. The Witcher was by far a better game. So you can send the hate mail. Send the hate mail. I will read that hate mail.
Do it.
And I will feel the hate, and I will send it back with love. I'll just crumple up that hate and just bring it back with love. Or some explanations.
Okay.
Depending on how I feel.
Sounds good. Steve, how are you this week?
I'm doing great. One more week. One more week till I'm done for the semester, and then, and like we said last week, yes, summer doesn't technically start, but summer starts starting Friday until August, because school's out. It's just work. Work is easy, too easy, and I get to play, hopefully, more video games. There's always stuff that seems to pop up, but I'm excited for that. By the time you're listening to this, the Angels will have already beat the Twins at least twice, and maybe even 3 times.
Yeah.
For those of you on Dash right now, because we beat them on Friday, so that's always fun, because it's fun to, beat Tyler's team. And Graham's, but his baseball team's garbage. So, we'll settle for Tyler's team.
Well,
they are actually decent.
Yeah, I would say, are they garbage?
They're
the
kind
thing
of
is,
garbage.
You're talking crap about them, but you probably know more about them being better than I do. So
I do.
They're
they actually have a better
strong argument there, Steven.
They don't have Showtime though, and Showtime went Showtime yesterday. So
yeah. Well, we'll see Sunday.
Video game world. We're a video game podcast, not sports podcast. I've been studying
sports,
finals mostly,
kidding.
And so I haven't played all that much, but I have, got a couple more videos of God of War. I'm loving it. I disagree wholeheartedly with Graham. I'm not nearly as far as Graham. Obviously, I haven't beaten it. I'm like 10 hours in, but this game's absolutely a 10. Okay, there's no question about it. But I've also started playing Breath of the Wild again, and fucking Graham over here got me into trying to find all 900 fucking Korok seeds. And I got all the Korok seeds in the first area because of Graham. Thanks a lot, and not actually thank you. But Breath of the Wild is another game that's absolutely a masterpiece, and I'm excited to play it again because it's just amazing.
Yeah.
So I'll be finishing God of War after this week's over, and then continuing Breath of the Wild, and then starting something else.
Okay, so I'm just going to bring this to attention because you mentioned it. So you're replaying Breath of the Wild. We'll say replay. You didn't finish it, but you were close enough. We'll give you... We'll round it up saying that you passed it. So now you're playing Breath of the Wild again. After you finish God of War, do you think you'll be going back to it?
Yes.
Okay, you're saying that, but will you?
Yes.
That's what I'm curious.
Yes. It's
when
absolutely
you do,
game over.
I wonder how far you'll go through it the second time.
That's a good question. I don't know if I'd finish it again, but I
feel
definitely
like you're going to do it just to see the 4K and the HDR and see how amazing
it in 4K.
Yeah.
But I am loving the game, so I don't know.
But you'll know the story, though, right?
Are fun. Yeah, but the story is always fun to go back to. I don't think I'll start it right away. I don't think I'll go straight to beating it to starting over. Mm-hmm. But, like, maybe next year. Probably next year. Well, I'll probably start a new one in 4K just to, like, see it and then, probably not go very far in it.
I'm hearing probably next year, but I'm thinking it's
next
not going to
year
happen.
When there's nothing going on around the summertime. I'm already looking at playing Persona 5 again, and it's been a year since I beat it. So...
Yeah. Okay.
Well, what about you, Tyler? We'll let you talk.
Well, thanks. First of all...
there's a third person. we let them out every once in a while.
Yeah. So, first of all, Steve, your time isn't the only thing Graham ruined this week. We'll get to that later. But you're guilty by association, Graham.
Okay, by association.
So,
so are you.
That's true.
No.
You both are.
So,
I'm squeaky clean here.
So, anyway, I'm good. Not a great week, in the professional life this week. I mean, everything's fine, but, not ideal. It's, just a little more frustrating than anything else. And when you rely on, a lot of other people to make it so you're just, like, able to do your job. And I don't mean able to be, like, successful. I mean able to actually do it. Then it's frustrating when that doesn't come through, and now I kind of have to stop what I do every day and do something else for the next few months. So that's frustrating. I'm sure that makes absolutely zero sense to everybody listening, but I don't want to go into a lot of details, so I won't. Game-wise, decent week. Played some MLB The Show this week. I had a good time with that. Been putting those videos up on YouTube. By the way, look up the Gaming Hub podcast on YouTube. And make sure you subscribe there. We really appreciate if you do that. And hit like on our videos. We appreciate that as well. So, along with YouTube and our new email address, which is thegaminghubpodcast@gmail.com, there's other ways to join our community and take part. We'd love it if you head on over to Twitch. On Twitch, TXH Gaming Hub there. And we'll be doing a ton of stuff for E3, and we'll be announcing all of that in the next few weeks. But we will have comprehensive coverage of E3 2018. If Graham doesn't ruin it all before then. But
Association.
So,
Don't let me stress.
But yeah, TXH Gaming Hub on Twitch. And also Facebook. Head on over to the Gaming Hub forums on Facebook. Join up there. When you do that, you can submit questions to be read on the show. And if your question's read, you're into our monthly giveaway. If you're drawn, you win a cool prize in the last episode of every single month. We just did one last week, kind of special for Star Wars Week. Gave away a digital copy of Star Wars Episode 8. So that was kind of cool. Twitter, you can go follow us at TXH Gaming Hub there as well. And if you're on Twitter or Facebook or Twitch, you'll see the link to our Discord page, which is growing at a pretty good pace. And we've got some good discussion going on in there pretty much all week long. So thank you guys for that. Really appreciate that.
Yep.
That's about it for all of our plugs. Oh, if you're listening on Dash Radio, we want to say thank you for that.
And hi.
Yeah, hi.
Hello.
So thank you for listening. And we'd love if you take part in the community. And if you're listening on Dash, the best way to make sure you catch every single episode is to subscribe to our show on iTunes or CastBox or Pocket Cast or whatever it is that you listen to shows like ours on. So with that, gentlemen, let's head into news for the week. And Graham, we're going to get you
In
going
the
right away.
news.
All right, I'm all grabbed up. Let me go.
Graham's here. He's ready. Earlier this week, it took him some time to formulate his defense. We were waiting, but he came through. But he's ready because Nintendo has announced their online service for the Nintendo Switch for just $20 a year. And that
price.
features, it's a great price, and it's a super great value because it features absolutely zero virtual console and still having to do chat through the app on your phone. So, Graham, what are your thoughts on this overall?
First of all, everyone is just jumping to speculations that they're not going to do this or they're taking this way. So, by how it's worded, yes, there's going to be no, I do this in quotation marks, you can't see, but just believe me, quotation marks, virtual console. So, it's not going to be called virtual console. But it could potentially, because I don't know, nobody knows, Nintendo knows, I'm sure they know, it could be called something else. So they're basically saying it's not going to be officially called Virtual Console, but they're still going to be offering older titles that would be on Virtual Console for free. So I think when it starts, you get there's going to be 20 plus games, and it seems like it's going to be added to it as it goes. So it's got the big titles. It's got your Marios. It's got your Zeldas. Well, that's all I care about. No, but it's got, like I said, 20 games. So I know people are like, no virtual console. And yes, I have a 3DS. I've paid for games on virtual console. It would be amazing for it to transfer over. But okay, let's compare it to other systems and consoles. PlayStation. Okay, so you have PS Now or PlayStation, whatever it's called. It's a streaming service, and I heard there's so much input lag and stuff like that games are pretty much unplayable. They don't let you download it to your hard drive so you could play it without these problems, and you have to pay for it. So there's a lot of hate going towards Nintendo, and I feel like I have to stick up for them. Because they're offering now what these other systems are offering, not as much content, but they're just starting. Give them a chance, and it's for $20 a year. So I think you should all just give it a chance and wait till it's officially announced. And yes, there's no
okay, Graham. Steve, real quick, Steve. I just want to ask Graham a question. So, and then I'll let you go on this, and then I have some follow-up questions for Graham. So, Graham, you didn't hit on cloud storage.
No.
No, I'm going to hit on that.
Okay, so Steve, I'll turn it to you, and then I have follow-up questions for Graham. So go ahead.
So there's so much to hit on here. Yes, we'll start with cloud storage, just because you brought it up. You're the only console charging people for cloud storage. That's bullshit. They are becoming the Apple of the gaming world. And I'm stealing that from one of our viewers on Twitch. By the way, we stream all our shows on Twitch as well, so you guys can catch us every Friday night on Twitch. And yeah, absolutely, Plasmid. That's some Apple shit right there, charging you for things that everyone else does for free. But I don't want to. We got into the phone thing a while ago, so I won't get into that again. But yeah, you can't charge for cloud storage when Microsoft and Sony do it for free. Okay, and it's not speculation that Virtual Console is not coming to the Switch at this time, because Nintendo has said to a lot of the major people like Kotaku that there are currently no plans to bring classic games together under the Virtual Console banner.
That's what I said. That's right.
Not speculation.
No, I'm not saying speculation.
Quote.
I'm saying
you said speculation.
It's not going to be called Virtual Console. It could be called something else potentially. They're just saying the banner. That means the title. That doesn't mean the games or the functionality. It's just saying it's not going to call Virtual Console.
Graham, okay.
Personally, Virtual Console is a stupid name, so they're like,
oh my god.
We're gonna come it with a better name.
I let you talk, and I don't interrupt you, and then I'm talking, and you're like, let's just cut off all his points.
So hang on, Steve. Graham, that's like if Disney came out and said there's not going to be an episode 10 under the Star Wars banner, and you could be like, well, they might call it Star Battles.
Yes.
You know, and no.
No, Graham, that's not an argument. No, I mean, I like Nintendo, don't get me wrong. And honestly, I might be the only one who doesn't give two shits about, like, voice chat, because I don't play my Nintendo games for multiplayer. But there are people that do, and honestly, it's 2018. Sony and Microsoft have been having voice chat since, like, 2008. Like, voice chat that worked well. So this should not be a thing 10 years later that you need to run through your phone. That's ridiculous. Okay,
well,
and again, I don't care about voice chat because I'm not playing any of my Nintendo consoles for, like, multiplayer. But I do think their announcement kills any chance of, like, EA taking the Switch seriously. Like, they're not going to spend any money or time putting, what's it called? Like, FIFA or Madden or any of those games, like, done well on the Switch. Okay, they've done a few of them. It's not worth it to them. It's not worth it to them with all the, like, fucking hoops they have to jump through. I don't think it's worth it for, like, EA to put their multiplayer games on the Switch because it's just a pain in the ass to use. I wonder how many people are actually going to play those games on the Switch. That's just my thoughts. I'll let one of you two go.
Okay, so I'm definitely closer to Steve's side on this, as you might imagine, Graham. But I want to ask you this. So you say, like, give them a chance.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I said.
They're new to this. Like, the fact that they're new to this is their fault. And let me ask you this. If in 2013, 5 years ago, if Microsoft came out and announced the Xbox One and said, this is going to be our online service for the Xbox One, what would have happened?
Are you looking for an answer? Or is that a
Yeah,
rhetorical
seriously,
question?
what would have happened?
Well, and you can even make that argument. What would have happened if Sony did that? And
Well,
like,
you could do that with anybody. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna call them out. But there are a few places that tend to be more Sony leaning, and I'll give them credit. Like, Sony has the better games. There's no question about that, and they've done this generation so much better. But even like Sony, if they came out with this shit, they would not get the pass that Nintendo has. And you can argue with that all you want, but
No. Okay, so I'm gonna agree with you too on a couple points. So, is it confirmed that the only way to get cloud storage is by paying for this service?
yes, it's in their little fucking picture that says, "Here's what you get if you buy like the online thing, and then here's what you get if you don't." And like, you know, those little dots. Yeah, and red was the cloud storage.
Okay, so I don't agree with not allowing cloud storage. That should be a free service from all consoles. There's no excuse, and that's definitely a misstep on their part. And another one is, yes, this voice chat is a complete disaster. But there is, I don't know where I got this information from, but I've been reading some stuff on this, and they think that when Super Smash Brothers for the Switch comes out, then they're going to have, I don't know how they're going to do it, but they're going to do away with this mobile phone party chat bullshit. Like, it is ridiculous. And I think they're realizing, yes, this was very stupid, but I think it was Splatoon 2 was coming out, and then they kind of like, they rushed and stuff. It's like, okay, this is a first-person shooter, like a team space sport. We need some form of communication.
Yeah.
And they're like, we messed up. So I really think, because they got to come to their senses and come out with something better than this bullshit they got. Because I'm not going to buy that stuff. I'm not. And if you're going to make games and you're going to be competitive with these other companies and consoles and systems, you need good party chat. And that is definitely a misstep. And I really like to be the optimistic person here and think that they are going to figure this out and it's going to come through. Yes.
Yeah, I'll be the pessimist then, because I know Nintendo, and Nintendo has done this with their handhelds. What are the chances that this year at E3, Nintendo announces like Nintendo Switch like I don't even want to call it a Pro. I'll just call it Nintendo Switch like 2.0 that like now has
Bluetooth?
like headphone
Bluetooth?
like, yes, exactly.
Simple.
And charge you another $400 when the Switch just came out like a year ago at this point. Like that I don't put that past Nintendo at all. Cuz I was just looking. I literally had my Pro controller in my hand and I'm looking at it and there's no place to plug like a headphone jack into. And honestly, that's kind of like
Xbox.
they're not looking forward into their or they're not forward planning. Okay, so it's only Bluetooth, and I don't know if even the Switch has Bluetooth capabilities right now. So I'm almost wondering if we're gonna see like a Switch, like an upgraded version of the Switch, like the DS had the 3DS and the 3DS XL and the DSi and all that. That's what I want to know.
Well, and so Graham, you're the optimist. Steve, you're the pessimist. I'll try to play the role of in between. Okay.
I call you Goldilocks.
But yeah, but so.
Go on.
In 2018, like, how is this okay though? So Steve, to one of your earlier points, like you said you don't care because you don't play Nintendo to go into party chat or voice chat or whatever, game chat, and do all that. But is that maybe because it's never been an option?
But even with
because,
PlayStation, though, we do the same thing.
Yeah, and honestly, I was going to say that. I'll give a little benefit of the doubt here, because I don't do it with PlayStation just because I'm so used to my Xbox and my headset is Xbox specific. And actually, I think I can plug this one into my PlayStation, but we always party up on the Xbox. I don't think it's because it's not there. I just think all my friends are on the Xbox, so that's where I'm going to hang out. And again, PlayStation is the same way. If I would have been on the PlayStation, I'm sure I would have bought a PS4 instead of an Xbox One. To start this. Now I have both. I have like the Pro and the X, and I love both of them. And I've been playing more of my Pro, but again, we party up on the Xbox. So I think that has more to do with it. It's just the fact that Xbox was first, so that's what I like. And so I'll give them a little credit there. I just wonder how many people actually would use voice chat.
I think if it became part of the ecosystem and part of what they can do, then yeah, I mean it might be slow growth first, but I think eventually it would just become mainstream there. It would become something people do.
Yeah.
And just like it did on Xbox, and just like it did on PlayStation,
Sure. You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, especially
I do have a question.
That's the only console that people have.
Well, not really a question. That's what I want to know, actually, what you just said, Graham. I don't think it's even possible, but I would love to see the numbers on people that only own a Switch. The Switch is their only gaming device. And maybe they had a Wii U before that and a Wii before that, but like they don't own Microsoft or PlayStation. They only own a Switch. I wonder what those numbers are.
Well, okay, so here's my response to that, though. So Switch has a business model of they built this console to try to attract more third-party games. Would we all agree with that?
Which they did.
And they did. But Graham, both of you, like, where is the focus of all of those third-party games today? It's not so much on single-player.
Multiplayer.
It's on multiplayer.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And for multiplayer, a lot of people like to have the headset on. Mm-hmm. And sure, that can become toxic really fast. And I don't want to hear some garbage like what Sony says when they say that they're not going to do like cross-platform play, where they just want to, protect the kids. It's all about the kids,
Yes.
No, it's because they don't have good security on their network, and they're worried that it's going to be an easy out or into their network for people to hack it.
Sure.
Well, see, and I'm just making this up, but I mean, it seems plausible, doesn't it? Because Sony's been hacked way more, and it could just be because they're bigger.
Well,
same reason.
To be fair, though, Xbox has been pretty vulnerable as well in the last couple years.
True.
So, but at the same time, I think Sony is pretty proprietary about their stuff. They don't want to share.
Yes.
But I think this is the way that gaming's going. It's going to this connection, not just that single-player experience. And when we look at awesome, fantastic single-player games, most of them today are exclusives to a console. And there are exceptions. Witcher 3, etc. But
GTA. Well,
yeah.
well, GTA.
But that has an online component though that's
Fallout.
taken over and dominated, right? So
Fallout's a good example.
yeah, Fallout's a good
Well,
example.
the Bethesda
But for
RPG.
every Fallout, I can list every Witcher 3. I can list a God of War. I can list a Zelda, a Mario, etc., etc., etc. for single player games that are exclusive to a console. Like those single player experiences are exclusive, but your developers that develop for across all platforms, they include that multiplayer component. I think Steve's absolutely right with EA, especially when it comes to sports games, because Graham, EA sports games now, what drives them? Which mode?
Oh, online for sure.
Yeah,
Multiplayer.
an Ultimate Team especially, right?
Yeah.
And that has a big time online component to it.
But you don't need party chat for Ultimate Team though.
No, but it's not the same experience if you don't have it. And then to your other point, okay, you get these games, and sure, you get Super Mario Bros. 3, which some people say is the greatest video game ever made. Which it very well might be. It's a very, very good game.
Never
Back in the
played
day,
so
it
I
was
wouldn't
awesome.
Yeah. But, and there's lots of other games. You get the original Legend of Zelda and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Graham, how many of those games do I get to pick?
What do you mean? How many of those games do you get to pick?
How many of the 20 that I get do I get to choose?
You choose
The
that.
answer is 0.
The answer
Yeah,
is 0.
I guess.
They tell me which 20
You
I'm
choose
going to
whether
play.
to play or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. And I get it. They're free, they're included, and it's going to be like a Netflix style service. Which, cool, I guess.
Stupid.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. But I would rather
yeah.
pick the games. And here's the thing, like, okay, so they're going to do this and they're going to give you these free games, and that's all great and it's cute and it's good. But on PlayStation, I get, 2 free games every month?
Yep.
On PlayStation 4, just for having their service. And granted, it's more money, but they're definitely better games and they're not 30 years old. And on Xbox, same deal. Xbox has fantastic games with gold this month.
Yeah, but see,
So-
I'm just doing the argument about
Sure.
Virtual Console, because Virtual Console are mostly older games. So these are
Right.
the older games.
So
Yeah, but the problem is you don't get to keep them. That's my issue. That's what's stupid to me. It's not. I'm not bitching that like they're giving us options for 20 free games, or not 20 free games. You're paying for the service, but like 20 games you can play. But how long do we get to play them for?
But
And
this-
what happens if I'm in the middle of like Super Mario Brothers? I think is on there, and then all of a sudden it's getting taken off in the next month. and I don't have time to finish it.
I don't think they're getting taken off though.
You don't
they're-
know
Yeah,
that.
they are.
We don't
because
know
they're doing
that.
20 games.
We're-
They're doing 20 games with new updated titles being added.
Grant,
So-
if it's
Yeah,
like
but they
a
didn't say
Netflix
one's
type
being taken
service,
away though.
If it's a Netflix type service, it's going to be taken away because
Yep.
that's what happens. They add games, they take them away. This is all
speculation though. Nobody said
No.
it's a Netflix service. We're making this up. We said it's a Netflix.
No,
service.
I've actually
We don't
read
know.
Graham, I've read in the articles that it's designed to be a Netflix type service.
Yeah,
Where
and-
certain games come in and certain games go out. And it's going to
And it-
be a base, list of 20. And if it's not, I'll come on this show and say I was wrong.
I
Yeah.
think you're going to be coming on
I
show and
will
saying
too.
it's wrong.
No, we're
I
not.
don't think so.
We're not. We're
Nope.
not. You're going to be the one. But if it's like how I compare it to is Games Pass and PS Now, and then PS Now you don't, but Games Pass you can buy the titles for a discount. If that's the case, if these games are being added because they're being added with like multiplayer chat features and all that, and that's what makes me think it's not necessarily just the game ported over. I mean, it might be, but if I can buy those titles, then I'm not going to be as upset.
Mhm.
But if it's a service where I'm like, I have to beat this game in a certain amount of time and it gets removed and then I can never play it again, I honestly might never play the game because I have limited time. You have limited time. Graham, you have limited time. There's so
Yeah.
much new stuff coming out as well. So it's like I want to pick up these games and play them when I feel like it. The reason I play a lot of the backwards compatible titles too on the Xbox, and I don't want it to be taken away. And so it's like, why even start it?
So
Well-
go ahead, Graham. I'm sorry.
I would say, all these games, and I'll probably never even ever play them. So that doesn't really matter to me. But another thing you're talking about, if you don't get to keep the games. Well, that's the same with the free games you get from PlayStation. Once you don't have PlayStation Now or PlayStation Plus, those games are gone. You don't get access to them. And that's how it used to be with Xbox, but I'm pretty sure now you keep them for good. So
No,
now
Xbox originally was you keep them for good, and now it's not anymore.
Now it's not.
It's
Okay,
the other
so
way.
then,
Yep.
so you were saying about Nintendo so every other console's doing that, so it's not really a strong argument there.
Well,
I
sure,
just-
but okay, so if we're gonna say that Nintendo, sure, every other console's doing that, that's fair. Totally fair.
No, it's not.
But
It's
no,
not.
hang on, Steve.
It's not
It
the
is-
same
no,
argument,
hang on, though. It is fair,
Okay.
but then it's only fair to hold Nintendo to the same damn standard for online service that every other console maker has.
Yeah.
And
Well,
It's not
and
the same thing,
It's
though.
not there. So, real quick, like, Graham, you've played like almost all these games before, right? Like, you've had Nintendo systems forever.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
I've even downloaded
And-
my 3DS, but never
Yeah.
played them.
Sure. So, but think about it and just set aside, I'm setting aside like the podcast host title right now, and I'm putting on like just the video game fan in me, right?
Yep.
The biggest reason I bought a Nintendo Switch was Virtual Console. Was to go back and play these games that I've missed over how many generations of Nintendo consoles.
Same.
Because I didn't. I wasn't like you, Graham. I didn't have every Nintendo system. I had an NES as a little kid. And then the next Nintendo system I owned was Nintendo Switch. So it was an opportunity for me to go. And they could have said this a year and a half ago. And they didn't. And in fact, they kind of teased Virtual Console a couple of times.
Oh yeah.
So, this is unacceptable to me. As somebody who spent $300 on this system, and Virtual Console is one of the biggest reasons I did. They could have said a year and a half ago, we have no plans to bring Virtual Console to this console. They didn't. And in fact, they talked about when we might see it.
But keep in mind, though, they said it won't be under the banner of Virtual
No,
Console.
I know.
So
BS.
that
I don't buy that.
wording, well, I know, but
Because
just-
wouldn't they want to get rid of all the negative stuff around this announcement by saying, yeah, it might not be under the banner, but we'll have something else. They didn't add that, but we'll have something else part.
Yeah. I want to fucking,
I'm-
argue
I'm-
against that
I'm
earlier
just gonna be
point made by
optimistic.
Graham here. It's not the same as PlayStation or Xbox. PlayStation or Xbox, if you stop your online service, yes, you do lose those games. But guess
Yeah.
what? Let's say a year later you decide to rebuy Xbox Live Gold. Guess what you can play again? Those games. Guess what you can't do on the Switch if Switch decides to take away the games from the service?
If
That's the
a
way
big
they're
if.
making it.
That's
it's
a
not
big
a big
if.
if. It's a
You don't
highly
know.
probable
You
if.
don't know. That's still an if.
It's
Highly-
not the same
highly
argument,
probable.
though.
So-
Those aren't the same. You can't
Okay,
compare
all right,
You
relax.
can't play
Everybody
Xbox
relax.
because
We're getting
that's
really
the case.
emotional.
If
We're
you
getting really...
don't have
Steve.
Gold or PS Plus, you lose those games that you downloaded the PS Plus games. Okay? Switch is of the case where they might take it away from you even if you continue paying for those online services.
Yeah.
So no, you can't compare those two. You can't do it. But I am with you, Tyler. I bought my Switch. I'm less like you as well, though. But I bought my Switch because I thought we were going to get a lot of Virtual Console games. I thought we were going to get a lot of remasters. I want to see a Legend of Zelda like collection with like Wind Waker,
Yes, I do too.
Skyward Sword, and
But-
Twilight Princess.
What I'm afraid of
And-
now, though, on that note, Steve, what I'm afraid of, real quick, is we're going to see more remasters now. Rather than,
True.
rather than having Virtual Console where I can get it for, I don't know, $10 or whatever, we're going to see collections and remasters where I'm going to pay $60. And I don't like that either. I didn't like remasters with Xbox One or PS4 either.
Yeah.
Steve, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But no, I'll go on that point too. I agree with you there. The remaster thing is kind of shady because if you think about it, like Dark Souls Remastered's coming out real soon. How much does that cost you? It's 40. It's 40. I don't know if you guys actually knew that off the top of your head. $40. Not a full price game. I just bought Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. You know how much that cost me? $60. They charged me full price for a remastered game from the Wii U. That's ridiculous, but that is absolutely a Nintendo thing to do. And that's a thing I can see happening in the future.
When Skyrim Collector's Edition or Special Edition came out, that was full price.
Yeah, but it's not every game.
No, it's not every game.
All Nintendo release games are going to be $60, and you know it.
But Nintendo has the unique like position of being both a console maker and a developer, right? So they have a lot of control over that. And
yeah, but think about it. Microsoft's remastered of Halo Master Chief Collection. It was $60, I think. But you got 4 games.
With all the multiplayer for all the games, yeah.
You got a free 5th game, too, as well. Because they gave you ODST for free.
If you got it in the launch window, yeah.
So, I can stomach $60 for all the Halo campaigns put together. Like, that is easy for me. And they dropped their prices, and Microsoft is of the type where, like, you could probably pick up Master Chief Collection for, like, $30 or $40 at most. It's not running for $60. Nintendo, Breath of the Wild, still like $60.
Well, their games, even if you get their Super Nintendo games and their NES games, you play way more than they were back then, but they don't lose their value for some reason. I don't know if because they're great games or they don't make a ton of them, but seriously, like those games, they hold their value.
There's an argument to be made that Nintendo is every corporation is, but Nintendo seems to be the most money grubbing of all the three. To me, they're the ones like trying to pinch every single dime they can from your pockets, and it seems to be that way. The way no virtual console, no transferring, like Xbox. You bought a game on the 360. Guess what? If it's backwards compatible, you don't have to buy it again. Nintendo's like, you bought it on the Wii, buy it again on the Wii U.
Well, Sony's like, if you want to play this, you already bought it, but you got to pay and you stream it. You can't download it. So you can make arguments with each console. And another point I want to bring up, too, is now with Minecraft coming out for the Switch, they've linked it over with the Xbox, so the achievements cross over from the Switch to the Xbox. So they're actually breaking the barriers down, and Switch and the Xbox are more coinciding with each other. But PlayStation is like, nope, not having any part of this. So another thing with this happening, is there a chance that the Switch could integrate Discord and like maybe use that for their voice chat? Like maybe they're going to look for a third party instead of, we can't figure this out. Let's sell them 100 different peripherals. Yeah, but I don't know if they had proprietary like exclusivity or whatever. That could be
pretty sure they will.
But well, maybe because I was like, but there's PC.
Why would they spend the money if everybody else can get it too?
I think you're kind of shifting the goalposts there, Graham.
So,
with the argument.
Well, here's my last question on this topic, because we're getting emotional about a system that I don't even know I don't even know where mine is right now, but. And I have no motivation from this week's announcements to find it. Actually, I have 2 more questions, but one is this: for a console maker, Nintendo, that has been so innovative and pushed the envelope in hardware for the last few decades, because they've set the tone and they've set the pace in many ways with the original NES, and then revolutionary with the Wii, and now again with the Switch. We recognize them for that innovation we have on this show too, and they deserve it. But how in the hell are they so far behind on the online part, and why do we give them a pass?
I think that was just, it wasn't their priority like right from the get-go. Like Xbox was the first one, they led the charge, then PlayStation followed, and then Nintendo's like, no, we don't really care and stuff like that. So yes, they are really late into the game, and I honestly there's evidence that is not their priority. That's not their goal. They're not concerned about that. And like us, like more hardcore gamers that do voice chat and competitive online and stuff like that, that was never Nintendo's game plan. They're like the family console, but they're like, we got to reach out to like third party and let people who want to play this type of game. So they're way behind. I'll say that a million times over. But they're cool with that, and we're not. But
so okay, follow up, and I'll direct this at Steve. Follow up. Yeah, Graham, I can see that, but I personally, and again, the Gaming Hub Podcast at gmail.com. Before I say this, but I personally think that Microsoft is the most responsive to fan wishes and demand over time. And yeah, they had a huge misstep in 2013, but ever since then, they've listened to fan feedback and adjusted their console and adjusted their service to meet what fans want. And I think that's really important. So for Nintendo to just I don't want to say turn their nose up at it, but just ignore that, in not just, Graham, with hardcore gamers, but in an age where people go to freaking concerts and spend the whole time staring at their phone recording it rather than experiencing it themselves. We live in a connected world. That's where the world is now. People want to be connected, and the younger the generations get, the more that becomes true. So this is no longer a world where it's about experiencing something by yourself. It's about sharing that experience with others. And the fact that Nintendo has ignored that, to me, is something they don't get a pass on. Steve, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't see how you can give a pass just because they didn't want to do it. Okay? I don't get a pass at school. Well, that was kind of your argument. I don't get a pass at school if I don't want to write an essay. I don't feel like doing it, so I get a pass. That's not fair to anyone. It's not, though. That was what you basically said. That's what you said.
I mean, the school analogy.
People give them a pass because they weren't concentrating on it. That's a ridiculous argument, in my opinion. I don't think they need it, or at least in my mind, I don't buy the Switch. I didn't buy it for multiplayer games. I bought it for like Fire Emblem, your Animal Crossings, even though that's a multiplayer game. But Fire Emblem, like my JRPGs that I don't get on my Xbox. And we all, at least I do, I favor my Xbox a little more. But PlayStation and Nintendo have so many better RPGs, and that's like my favorite game type. Mm-hmm. So I buy a lot on both consoles. So I don't know. It's just, I like Nintendo. I like a lot of the games they put out. I love all their, like, the games they make. But I think some of the shit they've been doing is questionable at best and really shady at worst.
So, lastly, I want to ask before we move on, because we have to move on at some point.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
We could have a 2-hour show just about this. But do you think that Nintendo announced this now, like literally a month out of E3, a month before? Do you think they announced it now so that because they knew the reception was not going to be overwhelmingly strong, and they want to get it out of the way now so they don't have to deal with the backlash when all eyes are on the gaming world in a month in Los Angeles for E3?
Absolutely. In fact, I think it was Destin Legary on Twitter who basically made the same comment, like what you just asked, was that Nintendo's going to do this soon so they don't have to do it at E3 because no one's going to want to hear this at E3. And honestly, it might be a case of they do this now and then their E3 is like where they post or do a lot of amazing stuff like their Nintendo Direct back when they announced the Switch. I thought that was an amazing conference. If that's similar, or if that's how E3's conference is going to be, I might think about forgiving them. Because there's still a lot of stuff on the Switch I like. I love playing my Switch. I just wish there was a little more to it. But I'll let Graham go.
What I was going to say is, yes, I'm sure they got that out of the way because it's like negativity and all that stuff. But optimist in me says they got there because they got so much going to be delivered at E3 that they don't have time for that. So they figured, let's do something we get out of the way first. But no, that's probably not true. Yeah, they probably this is probably not going to go over that well because people were expecting this. Or maybe they're just setting you guys up to be angry, and then they're going to show stuff and blow your mind. You're going to be like, I'm going to eat my words. Where's those words? Because I'm hungry and I'm going to eat them.
Graham, I hope I do eat my words. I really
hope
do.
so
I
too.
don't want people to fail. I'm not a dick. Okay, I want people to succeed. I mean, these are companies, so, I don't want them to, become monopolies.
But I want people who bought the Switch to be happy that they have it, right? And,
yes.
They should be. They're, there's lots of reasons.
No,
If Party
there's
Chat
two reasons.
is...
Mario and Zelda. That's the only reason right now.
Yeah,
Well,
but there's more. There's
let's not
Metroid,
forget,
there's Pokemon, there's Smash Brothers.
Let's not forget
There's-
they have games that have been nominated for Game of the Year in multiple years.
Yeah.
That's true. Mario Kart.
So,
I forgot.
yeah.
So there's maybe 3
So-
and Donkey Kong makes 4. 2 of those
Yeah.
games came out on the Wii. Actually, well, shit. Zelda came out on the Wii U too, but it wasn't a remaster from the Wii U.
Right.
So 2 of those games came out from the Wii U. Or
Yeah.
from the Wii U. Straight, literally, remastered from the
But-
Wii U. So...
I just say have an open mind and just see what happens. And then if we don't get that stuff, and then I'll go and I'll lash out at them.
Well,
But I'm not gonna speculate and lash out at what we think is their
It's not-
game plan is
it's
because
not
we don't know their game plan.
Well, no, Graham. I'm going off what they told us.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm not going off of what I think about what they're going to do. I'm going off what they told us they're doing, and that's not okay. It's what they're doing is not acceptable in the 2018 gaming world. So, thankfully, though, the one thing that I'll give them credit for is they're only charging $20 a year for this.
Mm-hmm.
If they came out and wanted $60 a year, like Xbox Live or PSN, PS Plus,
Yeah, oh yeah.
definitely, we'd be absolutely
We'd have more
crushing
reason.
them right now.
Mhm.
And I don't even think we're crushing them. We're just keeping them sort of honest here with, don't sit here and put up your site saying you get all this great stuff. You get cloud saves. Well, everybody else gets that for freaking free.
Yep.
Yeah,
Like,
that's.
If
Yeah,
you
I
want to
know.
be part of the big boys club, and you claim to be, and you should be because you've sold a shit ton of consoles in the last year plus, then you got to act like it in every way, not just the ways that you want to. So that's where I'm at. But anyway, guys, let's move on.
I just want to throw in one thought.
Go ahead.
I'm just wondering, because I'm thinking about this all voice chat, because I'm trying to think of ideas.
Yeah.
What is it possible? Not saying you guys know the answer, but could they just come out with a different type of dock that would solve this problem? So basically, you still keep your Switch unit, obviously, the brains and all that stuff. Can you make a dock that actually, when it's docked, boom, you have voice chat? Is that possible?
I'm sure
they're
it
gonna
is.
charge $8 for
capable
it.
one.
Yeah,
Well,
but how much are they
Or
going to charge for
60
it?
or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I should pay $60 for the fucking courtesy of having voice chat?
No,
Fuck
yeah,
you,
but
Nintendo.
it might offer other stuff. Maybe it'll be a 4K update. Who knows, right?
and
Maybe
it's just-
the next
Yeah.
generation.
Well,
will be
I
just
kind
a
of doubt
dock.
A
that.
4K.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Come on, you're
Let's-
reaching.
Graham-
something.
Reaching.
Graham,
I'm
let's
just
get a
trying to think what we need
1080p
to make it a
update
little
first.
Let's get realism
Yeah,
first,
and-
okay?
All right.
Yes,
on,
they can update
all right, on
Bluetooth
to the next topic.
into
Anyway,
a dock.
okay, Graham's ready to give up now.
My shield's
Graham's ready to move on.
Man.
All right.
My shield's almost gone.
Yep, Graham's tapping out. Okay, let's move on. Speaking of E3, PlayStation finally announced their E3 conference. It's going to take place Monday, June 11th at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Exact same block of time that they had in previous years. They have said they're going to focus on the big 4 games, which will be Death Stranding, Spider-Man, Ghost of Tsushima, and The Last of Us 2. So my question for you guys is, just by saying those 4 games, have they already won E3?
Honestly, I expected more from them. A little bit. I mean, I knew we'd see Death Stranding and Last of Us 2. Why are they... Okay, Spider-Man comes out in 3-4 months. Why do I need to see anything more from that? It's just like, hey, we have this, cool. I feel like E3 is like, what are you doing for me in the next like, in the following year? Or
no,
like,
I think that's unfair because I think the way E3 is going now, look at Bethesda, they basically only show stuff that's coming out in the current year and at most within the next 12 months.
Yeah, but sometimes you don't always know it's coming out. You know Spider-Man's coming out. Like, I want to see it, but I don't want 15 minutes like dedicated to it.
I want to be fair because we've knocked Sony in the past on this show for showing stuff that's coming out like, 5 years from now. And I want to be fair by saying, hey, they're focusing on some games that are probably coming out relatively soon for them, except for Death Stranding, because that's probably not coming out until at least 2020. Now, if they show up and they announce like a launch date for Death Stranding of like this year or early next, they win. They win E3 forever at that point. But we got an emergency outside here, I guess.
Yeah, it sounds like
No, I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm excited. Death Stranding has got me, like, hyped, man. That shit just looks so cool, and I don't even know what the gameplay's going to be like. Spider-Man, I know what I'm going to get with it. It's the Insomniac game, and I'd imagine they're going to keep it similar to Sunset Overdrive, like, with the movement. It's going to be smooth, it's going to be fun, and I'm going to love it. That's what I mean when I say I don't really want to see it. I guess that's not necessarily fair. I just don't think it should be shown in their conference. I feel like that's more of a game to show on the during the actual E3 part where you can
trust
play.
me, they'll do both.
And then I know they'll do the second part. I'm just saying in the conference, I don't need like a 20-minute segment on it. But Death Stranding and The Last of Us for sure, and Ghosts. I've watched the trailers for it. I don't know what type of game this is going to be.
I watched trailers too, yep.
But it's like, all right, is this going to be like a For Honor type combat system? Or are we going the Neo route? Because
I think we kind of know what we're getting because it's Sucker Punch and they've done the Infamous games. So we're probably going to get something along those lines.
And that would be cool.
I think the fact that we know what Insomniac does. We know what they did with Sunset Overdrive. That clued us in a lot to what we're going to see with Spider-Man, right? I personally, for me, the conferences in E3, I think they intend them to be more about generating excitement rather than providing information. So it's about winning, right? Who wins E3 isn't determined by what they show on the floor. It's determined by what happens in these conferences. And it's about getting people excited, so showing Spider-Man there is absolutely going to do that. Yeah. That's going to get people fired up. Go ahead,
and real quick, Graham, before I have a few predictions for some other things I think PlayStation is going to show, but I'll save that for our predictions.
We
got predictions show coming 3 weeks from tonight. So
I don't think these are the only 4 things we're going to see. Is where
no. That's what I was just going to talk about right now, because this is saying this is what their main focus is going to be, because we're still going to see that stupid zombie game that I always forget the name. Days Gone by, whatever. So yeah, they're gonna show that because they have to. They've been ramming that down our throats for so long that obviously they're gonna show it. If they don't show it, then they're gonna be like, maybe they'll think this game just went away. Maybe they think that this game don't exist. So yeah, they're gonna show that. They're gonna show other things, and I'm gonna with Steven too about Spider-Man. I was reading that there's actually supposed to be a big special announcement to go along with Spider-Man. Now, I don't know if that's showing a Spider-Man PS4, which we've already seen or got spoiled. So I don't know what it is. So I'm guessing that's why it's a big part of it. And because we know that's coming out. Ghost of Tsushima, that looks very interesting. I don't know much about it. Last of Us 2. Cool. Yeah, they have major titles. When you say these titles, like Death Stranding, that title's huge. It's a Kojima game coming out that we have no idea when's coming out. We really don't know when Last of Us 2 is coming out either. There's so much speculation. So I know E3 will clear up a bunch of this. But I think with Spider-Man, knowing that game is coming out, we got God of War. What was there any other really big exclusives that we got from Sony this year?
This year so far, no.
Yeah. Okay. So,
but everything they've given us recently has been flat out amazing.
Yeah. So like, I don't think they want to just throw this all out right away. Like, they want to keep some of this on like the back burner, right? So I don't think we're going to get all this in a small chunk of time. I think this might be spread out for 2 years, maybe with Death Stranding 3 years. So yeah, so like there's gonna be extras.
Yeah,
I'm definitely excited for it, and
I think the earliest we see Death Stranding is 2020.
yeah,
I
Like,
bet
I-
you it's a launch title with the PS5.
you know, I think
It
The
might be.
Last of Us 2 might be a launch title as well. I
So-
no, I
don't know.
disagree. I disagree with that.
No, Last of Us will be. They might follow the same cycle that they did with the last generation, where The Last of Us was kind of like
Just at the end.
the very end. It was kind of like the swan song of that generation. It was the culmination of that generation, really. It was arguably the best game released during that console generation for either console.
Yeah, no, it's true.
So, yeah, but when you look at this list of 4, and you know the big 4, I mean we put them in the order we put them in, but you know
Let me
it's
look
probably
up
it's,
Xbox's
yeah.
big 4.
Well, no, let me do this. Yeah. So we say Death Stranding, Last of Us 2, Spider-Man, Ghost of Tsushima, maybe in that order for level of excitement from people. And then you match that up against Crackdown and Ori and the Will of the Wisps and other, you know, it's kind of a no contest, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think this enables Microsoft to surprise us. Like,
It
is there
does.
is there some surprises out there that we don't know about?
There better be, because this fucking... Honestly, this E3 is a little make or break for me and my Xbox.
So, all right, let me ask you, Steven, what would you like to see?
Games.
Like, you don't- Yeah.
I
so
don't have...
You just
I-
want exclusives?
Well, I want games that can compete with, like, God of War, Spider-Man, like, all that. Like, PlayStation offers me variety. Xbox offers me bro shooter racing games. Okay? That's
Well,
what they
yeah. And, you know, the thing is, like, I can fire up a game I really enjoy on Xbox, right? Like, you know, Halo 5. I've said many times, I love that game. I actually really enjoy Sea of Thieves as well. But then I can fire up one of the big-time games from PlayStation, and it even has a different look and feel to it.
Yeah, there's, like, some... It's hard to quantify in words
Yeah.
what
it's-
exactly it has, but it has the it factor.
Yes, like, you load up that game, and it's just like you feel like you're on a different level right now.
Yep. Horizon Zero Dawn, God
Yes.
of War. Even MLB The Show, like, feels so different than other sports games. But then, like, Persona 5, I'm trying to just... Nino Kuni, all of those games, Now, some of those games did come out on the PC. I think Nino Kuni was on the PC. So it's not entirely exclusive to the PlayStation, but it's a console exclusive for sure. They all have the it factor of it. And Xbox has nothing like that.
Yeah,
Halo 5 does not have an it factor. Halo 5 is just another Halo game.
And when I said before, like, Microsoft, when it comes to, like, services, like Xbox Live, etc., I feel like they've listened to the fans more than any other console maker. And I do feel that way. They've been really receptive with all that type of stuff. But when it comes to games, man, you load up a PlayStation game and you just feel like that was made with attention and detail and, like, love for the content and what they're talking about, you know? And the story and all that stuff. Like, there was serious passion put into that game. Whereas with Xbox, you don't always feel that. In fact, I don't feel it nearly as often with Xbox as I do with PlayStation games. Are you guys in the same boat there, or no?
Yeah, I'm trying to even think on the 360 where I felt the love and passion. And, man, I'm hard-pressed. Like, Fable, maybe? But even then, Fable felt a lot like some other multi-console games. It didn't have a special feeling to it. Like Infamous is a good example. Like, I don't like Uncharted or The Last of Us. I don't like Naughty Dog as a developer. I don't enjoy their games for some reason. But I feel the love and passion, and I know Infamous is not. But Infamous as well. PlayStation has games that you feel like they give a shit about. Okay, even The Last of Us, and I'm gonna try one more time to give it a good college try. I promise you guys. I know we have some PlayStation listeners out there that probably want to like string me up for these comments. I want to like it. I don't know, but there's nothing on like Xbox that makes me think, oh fuck. Like Gears of War 2 may have been the last game. Gears of War 2 was like my last oh fuck that I can think of. And that may have just been because I got a new HD TV back then and I was playing on a little box TV, and then Gears of War 2 came with my HD TV, so it was like, wow, this is cool, more than like the love thing. I don't know.
I feel, and Graham, this will give Nintendo credit too, because you feel it with their games too.
Yes, Breath of the Wild, for sure. And Mario.
And Mario. But I feel like Xbox goes for like the Michael Bay effect. Like they want awesome, but not great.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's kind of like the difference between a movie like, Armageddon, for example, if you remember that movie. Like, that's a Michael Bay movie. Or, Transformers, more recently. Michael Bay movie. It's fun and it's whatever, but Michael Bay's never going to win Best Director. Because it doesn't have the little details that make it truly special. And,
you know what, though?
Or even big details like story.
Xbox as the Michael Bay of like the video game world is such a fitting...
It is.
Like, thing. Which is funny because Uncharted was like the set piece, like king back on PlayStation 3.
But they developed that character. Awesome...
Yeah, they did. They had a good story to go along with it.
Yeah.
But there's nothing, like, even, like, Halo 5, like, I didn't even beat it. Because it just didn't hook me enough. But I don't even remember there being that big of set pieces on Halo 5 that were like, damn.
Well, and how much, honestly, like, I love Halo. It's my favorite series, so how much, though, has Master Chief really, really been developed as a character throughout the 5 Halo games?
0. Cortana was developed.
Cortana. And really, the story driver there was the relationship between Master Chief and Cortana.
Yes.
The best Halo game in terms of story was one that didn't have Master Chief in it.
Halo Reach. 2 had...
Well, Halo 2 was very good, yeah.
With the Arbiter, though. The Arbiter was...
Yeah, the Arbiter was great.
So,
but like, God of War.
Dom. I mean, Dom wasn't bad. Marcus, though, wasn't very developed. He was a little bit, but...
No, I'm not saying Gears of War. I'm saying God of War.
Oh, God of War. God of War. Sorry. I thought you said...
Different story with story development, right? And
well, on the new one, not in the old one. Let's be real here. The old one...
Right, but the new one. But I'm telling you, though, PlayStation exclusives now are different than kind of what they used to be.
Yes. Like they've learned their lesson.
Yeah, these games are so well thought out and planned, and they are made with attention and detail, and like I said, love for the content and the material. And you feel that when you're playing it. And on top of that, the games have a different look to them. They just do. Like, they look better.
I bet you Microsoft wishes it kept the rights to Mass Effect. Because the first one was an exclusive, and if they kept that and the same team, not one that done Andromeda, but if the same team done like another Mass Effect series or like franchise, like a reboot maybe, then that could have been a great IP. But they shit the bed on that one.
Well, the other game that they had too, favorite of mine, that was exclusive to the 360 for the first game was BioShock.
Oh, that was Xbox as well, eh?
Yep, it didn't come to PlayStation until 2. So, they've had franchises that they could do this with, but those were third-party agreements. Like, the games we're talking about for PlayStation are all first-party developed games.
Yeah, and I don't know if is Microsoft ever going to get to that point. That's the real question. Are they ever going to, like... I say give a shit about their games. I think they do, but I don't think they, like... They haven't found... It almost feels like, why should we care? Because it feels like they don't care. In like, a weird way. You know what I'm sure you guys know what I mean?
I think Phil is trying, though. I think Phil is trying
He is. I think Phil Spencer understands what's needed. It's just making that happen that's sort of difficult. Because, let's face it, with games like JRPGs, like Sony has a much stronger footing there, and so does Nintendo.
Yeah. And
With that genre.
rumor has it that he's trying to get some JRPGs for the Xbox system.
Give
so,
me
like I
fucking
said,
Bioshock. I mean, not Bioshock. Lost Odyssey 2.
Yeah.
yes, and other ones too. Like no one knows exactly, right? Like he went on a trip to Japan and he's looking around and stuff like that. So I think he knows that he has to deliver something big for E3. So
Yeah.
it's the optimist in me. I really think this is going to be a good E3. I really do for
I do too.
Nintendo,
I hope so.
Xbox, and PlayStation. And
Well, I'm most excited for Bethesda's with their announcement of having
Yes.
the longest conference they've ever had. Because I'm praying to God that we get an Elder Scrolls 6. That's my favorite series in the whole wide world.
yeah, but
and I
I'm pretty
love-
sure they said that's not coming for a while.
Because
Yeah, but they-
you're allowed to be an optimist about Nintendo. I'm gonna
Yeah.
be an optimist here.
But Bethesda's the best.
On PS3.
Yeah, Bethesda's the best at putting up sort of that smoke screen, right? And they're really good at it. And the last 2 years, they've hit us with games that we didn't even think were even on the radar. And all of a sudden, here it is. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to what they do this year. And again, we'll have our E3 prediction show here in 3 weeks' time, where we'll kind of hammer through all that. We know, some other ones are already having like prediction shows. I think it's a little early for that, but we'll let it play out, and we'll do our prediction show 3 weeks from tonight. So, all right, let's move on though, guys.
All right.
From PlayStation to how Canada has ruined E3 for everyone.
You're welcome.
And Walmart.
No, you're not
Walmart
welcome.
ruined it.
I'm not a
But
part of it.
Canada did as well.
I know.
So,
I-
so,
I'm the only one
I'm
clean
like
here.
Tyler's
So-
scapegoat right now.
so,
in this plague.
Walmart Canada
Mainly Walmart.
Walmart Canada accidentally posted a listing of games that revealed a lot of surprises that could be coming at E3 this year. And I'll tell you, when we first looked at it, we're like, this is fake. Because they had a listing for Forza Horizons, plural, 5. And, the upcoming game, which has not been announced but we're sure exists, is Forza Horizon, singular, 4. But we've all seen this website, people of Walmart, and it's not out of the realm of possibility that there could be some typos or errors in there. And the more we saw about this week, especially once Walmart came out, Walmart Canada actually came out and said this happened due to a, quote, glitch, and that these games basically weren't confirmed, but they were just sort of anticipating. Because, they're the freaking...
Because there's a glitch.
Well,
There's a
that's
glitch
ju-
that
Yeah,
does that.
because they're the Miss Cleo of E3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as I
But-
saw that Rage and Bethesda,
Yeah.
posted they brought their Twitter accounts back that hadn't posted in a while to
Yeah.
make jokes about it. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
this is guaranteed, and if one of them's guaranteed, the likelihood is most of those are guaranteed.
Yeah, so
Yes.
Bethesda responded strongly to Rage 2 being on there.
Yeah.
We also saw Borderlands 3 on there. And, something I'm excited about. I'm excited about both those, actually. But for me, also Gears of War 5, which we know is going to happen. But now the question becomes, is this something... Are they going to tease us with something that's a year out? Or is this a surprise that Microsoft could come with? Because we've all agreed they need to come with something.
Yeah. Well, my
And
most
could
anticipated
this come
game
this year?
there is Splinter Cell, but
Yeah. And that's
But
one that
that's-
actually ticks me off. So this whole thing actually pisses me off because E3 for me is fun. And, you get the surprises and you get the really cool stuff that these companies have managed to keep under wraps for a long time. And then, some
Enter
idiot...
Walmart.
Yeah, and then some idiot changes it.
in Canada.
Canada. So, we love Canada, by the way. We just make fun of Graham. But,
That's why they have me. It's the only
So-
reason I'm on here. It's like, we need something to make fun of. we should
need a
find somebody
punching
from
bag.
Canada.
Yep.
Well, he searched up Canada guy to make fun of, and I was the first one on the search.
And
So
we found Graham.
if you guys wondering how I ended up on this show, that is how it was. There's
So, Graham-
no big secret or story.
So, Graham, I know the games you're most excited about on here are Destiny Comet, which is the code name for Destiny Year 2, and also the Division 2. But aside from those, what are you really
Yes.
looking forward to?
Well, I know it's coming. I don't know when. Like, there's no time frame for these releases.
No,
But
none.
Metroid Prime. See, I'm a Nintendo fan. Yes, but I'm a big Metroid fan. Any other title on here that I really? I'm very curious about Lego DC Villains, and I'm curious too about
Yeah,
the
too.
Assassin's Creed. Like, I don't know if I would play that game, but now the big thing got me curious about is, are they back to a yearly iteration now? Like, are they going to go down that same rabbit hole where they keep spewing out a title after title, year after year?
Maybe they follow the Call of Duty format where they have multiple developers working on these games now, so they can have like that 2-year cycle, maybe, or 3-year cycle.
Yeah, that's
Maybe just a
possible.
thought. How about Just Cause 4? Anybody there?
Yeah, that game's fun for just fucking off in. It's so much like the idea, but I'm surprised more games don't do it. Is having that little parachute that you can like open up and close at. Like, it's so suspension of disbelief, but it's just fun just traversing the world in that game and just blowing shit up, and then traversing the world and blowing more shit up. I have a blast doing it. I never finished the story, but having a blast playing the game for sure. And honestly, Far Cry could use that parachute aspect.
And there'll be a
Yeah.
battle royale mode, I bet you.
I'm sure. No, there's no Well, I don't remember multiplayer in Just Cause, but we'll see. But Splinter Cell is definitely my number one on that.
So how about what was not on here?
Halo.
Yep.
Elder Scrolls.
What do you think? And Elder Scrolls.
Honestly, you talked about this earlier, Tyler. Not on the podcast, but before we went live, about Halo probably needing to scrap whatever outline they had going into Halo 6 because Halo 5 story was just
Yeah.
And I think you're right. It's not good. I honestly think it was a mistake not trying to make another like Reach or ODST type game, because I didn't like ODST that much, but a lot of people did. But I loved Reach, and a game away from Master Chief almost is what this series needed, a little bit, in my opinion. And I think it was a mistake going away from that and focusing so hard on Halo 6. But we'll see what happens. There's no guarantee that we're not getting it this year.
No, there isn't. I still think it might be up their sleeve as a massive surprise. The more we hear nothing from Microsoft about any sort of games, the more I think we're going to get a huge, huge surprise from them at E3.
Yes.
So
That's why I'm hoping no more of these bloody leaks come out, because I'm like you,
Well,
Tyler. I would like
yeah.
to be... Yeah, I'll go to Walmart
Thank you.
Canada.
take care of this.
There's a Walmart
Graham.
next to my shop, but I go to
Thank
the
you.
McDonald's every morning. I'm going to go in and I'm going to yell at them, and maybe
Thank
I'll go
you.
slap
Thank
them.
you. All right, thank you.
And express our anger.
So, but anyway, you're saying you're with me that you hate it being spoiled, right?
Yes, because
Yeah.
I'm with you. Like, one of the best parts of watching it is getting, like, surprised. Like, when backwards compatibility came out, like, that was, like, wow, like, whoa.
Yeah.
So, like, I'd like that. So, please, if any of you guys out there works in these retail and you think, oh, it'd be funny to do this. Because, speaking of leaks, there was another one, which it's really more abstract than this. But GameStop, supposedly they put up 15 SKUs for upcoming Switch games. So we don't know which one they are and stuff like that. But it seems like with the digital age now and people have their phones on there, it's so much easier for it to happen. And maybe there's glitches, I don't know. But I would really like people to stop doing this if they can.
Tyler, I
Yeah.
just want to ask you a question. It's
Yeah.
a little off topic here. Is it actually pronounced SKUs in the retail world?
Yes,
Because
it is.
Oh, okay.
SKU.
Damn it.
Yes.
Because Graham gets mad at me every time I make like acronyms into like words, and so I was really gonna yell at him for this, but now I can't do
It
that.
is SKU. So
Nice
Damn
try.
it.
but Steve, to your
That's
earlier
right.
point, like with
Try
Halo,
again.
with Halo, like we were talking about before. I think with Halo 4, 343 kind of got the story right, but the multiplayer, I didn't mind Halo 4 multiplayer. Steve, I know you didn't either.
I didn't like it. I
You didn't like
hate it. I was like, eh. It didn't make me want to come back.
Sure. Halo 5, they got the multiplayer right, but not the story at all.
Yes.
So, I think they've kind of sort of gone into the bunker, so to speak, to figure out how to get this right for 6. And I think it might be something like a Destiny type thing, where we saw when Destiny, the first one, was being planned, they had this whole story for the game, and then like people looked at it and were like, this makes absolutely zero sense. Get rid of all of this. So they kind of had to scrap it and redo the entire game in like a year. And I think we might be seeing something like that here, where maybe they had the Halo 5 story mapped out into what would be Halo 6 and how that story would continue / conclude. And they've kind of sort of had to abandon that and redo all of it, and that might have set them back a year. And I hope that's not the case. I hope we get a big surprise and we see Halo 6 announced by Microsoft this year, because it is in the cycle. It's Halo's turn this year. 3-year cycles. This 2018 would be Halo's year, and 2019 would be Gears of War. But I'm almost thinking, based on this leak, that we might see Gears this year. They might rush it. I hope it's rushed in a good way, just because that developer's on top of it. The Coalition now, right, is what it's called?
Yes.
Yeah. Because I know they had one name and they changed it. So I hope that they were just on top of it and they could get the game out in 2 years, and it ends up being freaking awesome.
Yeah. Well, with the game like Gears, they got to get it right. I don't think they would just rush it and release it if they weren't 100% confident that it was amazing. Because we were talking about it with exclusives, and Microsoft is lacking. If they screw this one up, then they're going to have even less exclusives to depend on, so they have to.
What do you think is more important? That they get one of these two franchises out this year? Or that whichever one comes out is great when it comes out?
I think it has to be great. Quality over quantity. And
Honestly,
really?
To me, it's both.
It is kind of both.
But you
It's
can't have
both.
both, though.
You can't. Why can't you?
Well,
Why
he-
can't you have 3 great games coming out? But
He-
PlayStation has done it the
He
last
told
3
you.
years.
He told you had to choose one. You chose both.
No, because that's what they need. Okay, if I chose one, I'd prefer quality as well.
Okay, there you go.
But Xbox needs both.
Yes, they
There's
do need
no
both.
there's no question.
Oh,
They
100%.
need both great
With-
and quantity.
Yeah, with Sony launching both Gears or God of War and Spider-Man in the same year, can Xbox afford to not launch one of their major franchises this year?
No.
I don't think they can either. I think they have to with one of these. So either that or they have to go all in on a third-party game and make it exclusive to their console, which I don't want to see. Because I think that sucks for other players.
Yes.
So, like, you buy a PS4, you know you're not going to play Halo, right? You just do. You buy an Xbox One, you know you're not going to play God of War. You know you're not going to play Infamous. You know you're not going to play Last of Us, etc.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, there's stuff on Xbox too, right? But yeah, I could list off Gears of War and, Halo and Gears of War. And Forza. So,
It's true. Like, I can't
but-
remember the last exclusive from Microsoft that I loved or I really enjoyed or like
I
had to have
actually
it.
very much like Gears of War 4. I did. And I liked Halo 5 quite a bit.
Yeah, it goes way back further than that for me. I don't even know actually.
And I do enjoy Sea of Thieves. And I'll say that again. So, I know
going
I'm
back.
probably in the... What's that?
I said I'm still going back.
Yeah,
I
so-
haven't figured anything.
And I'm not saying that just because I have an Xbox One. Like, I have both consoles. And, you know, truth be told, I've played the PlayStation 4 a lot more lately. Steve, I know you have too. You said that. But,
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, we all have.
And
Honestly,
and the
recently-
Switch.
Recently, Tyler, I think I noticed this is my Xbox has solely been used for party chat. I can't think of a game I played longer than like an hour.
We played NHL, but that was
That
maybe
was
just
not an hour.
No.
I mean, last week I did stream some Fortnite and some other stuff, but none of that was consecutive. And honestly, it's mostly been party chat.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. There was a time where I got home, like, from work or whatever, and the first thing I do is fire up the Xbox One. And that hasn't been the case so much lately. It hasn't been the case at all. I'm much more likely to turn on the PlayStation. So, you know, it's not about preferring one over the other or cheering for one over the other. I want them both to be awesome. Because that's what makes gaming great, and that's what makes both consoles better. If both of them are great, it makes both of them better, because they push each other. And I just really hope Microsoft brings something to the table this year. I think they're going to. Like, I have a lot of faith in Phil Spencer. They're going to have something this year that's going to, I think, blow us away.
Gotta have
And-
faith, man.
Yeah, and they've managed to pull surprises on us in Microsoft, on the Microsoft conference for the last couple of years. In fact, remember last year on this show, we basically said Microsoft, the major console makers, had the best conference. So, I'm hoping that's the case again this year. We'll see. I'm, who knows?
Yeah.
But all right, let's move on from there to more Xbox news. So, on that note, Xbox is currently hiring for a new first-party franchise. They're hiring developers.
They're listening already.
Yeah. So,
Too little, too late, though.
maybe. You know, what kind of game would it take to get you to change your tune on Xbox? Because we don't want another shooter. We don't want another racing game. We know that. What would it take for you to kind of change your tune and say, you know, this is a lineup that can stand up against what Sony has right now and compete?
Personally, for me, would be a single-player open-world adventure game. Something like kind of along the lines of God of War, Breath of the Wild, Horizon Zero Dawn, maybe somewhere around there. That's what I would like to see.
Yeah, that's kind of the genre they're missing right now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I think.
I mean, that and
Steve would probably
JRPG.
say JRPGs,
Yeah.
for sure.
Go ahead, Steve.
Well, there's no one game. There's no one. They need 3, at least, at the minimum. Okay, maybe 2. But
Selfish.
I do agree with Graham. I would like a open world, action-y adventure type game, a la Breath of the Wild or God of War or Horizon Zero Dawn. It's honestly the game type I think appeals to the most people when it comes to that. Though I do think they also need a Last of Us or Uncharted type game. It's too bad, well, for Xbox as the company, but it's great for everyone else that Tomb Raider is not exclusive, because that is arguably one that could compete against like Uncharted per se. But they need their own Last of Us. I think they tried with Quantum Break, but it wasn't good. I mean, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't like amazing.
You know, we haven't mentioned State of Decay 2.
No, that's not it.
But
there's no
that
way.
isn't exclusive, though.
It is. But so was Sea of Thieves, and that wasn't it.
And we know it's next gen, though, so it could be really good. You don't know.
It could be.
Yeah,
and I hope it is. I don't want any game to suck.
Graham,
Okay,
Graham, if I had to ask you right now, you're gonna
you
bet. You're gonna. Yeah, I am. You're gonna bet a certain amount of money right now that State of Decay 2 is going to win the day for Microsoft and make people forget about God of War and Spider-Man 2 this year.
Now,
how
I
much?
did
How
not-
much would you bet?
I did not say
How much
that.
money? You have to pick a dollar amount. How many dollars would you put down? How many Graham
Canadian dollars?
how many Canadian loonies, Graham, would you
One.
put down? One. Okay.
That says
So,
something. I mean,
yeah.
and my question with that is too is like over under 8.5.
So that's 30 cents
For
American.
the review. I'm gonna say
Over
under.
under
I'm gonna say
8.5.
under. I see that game as a 7.5 to an 8.
Graham.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Tyler. I'm gonna go with 8.
I think 8 is reasonable
Yep.
as well. And I almost said over under 8, but it could surprise us to get an 8.5. But think about it, like Horizon.
I'd like for it to.
Horizon was what, a 9 and some change from a lot of
9.2
places.
or something. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
God of War was a 10. Let's set an over under on Spider-Man. I think a fair over under there is 9.5.
Yep.
And
I'd say 9.6.
I think over. If you're
Yeah.
only counting IGN, if you're counting all of them,
Okay.
then because again, I mean, how many weeks in a row can we say this? But there's going to be sites that are bringing down like the Metacritic score just for
Right.
clicks.
Just for clicks, sure. But we're talking the major ones, right?
Major, yeah. I think shit. I would say at probably. I maybe Optimist says over. Realist says really fucking close, but probably under just overall mean score.
But the fact is, we set the over under for Spider-Man at 9.5, and we set it for State of Decay 2 at 8.5.
Yeah, and 8.5 was reaching.
Was
Honestly, 8
generous, yeah.
Probably the fairer
Yep.
version. And like Crackdown, like my over under for that game right now is like 7.
Yep.
And honestly, if they can change that to make that game, if that game comes out at like an 8.5, and a 9 would be like amazing for that game. That is one game that helps turn the tables. Then if you bring out a open world like God of War-esque game, and then maybe like Alan Wake 2 as a good Alan Wake 2, then you're talking. Then you're talking. And if you throw Fable in there as well, and Fable can't be that open world game. I don't think it's. Fable's a good game, but it's not God of War-esque.
I know. A lot of people.
You
Yeah.
need a new open world title.
Mm-hmm.
But if you bring those 3 games out and 4 with Fable, then now you're fucking talking. Now I can be like, all right. It's worth it. It's worth buying an Xbox. Right now, I'd say it's not. If you don't have an Xbox already, I wouldn't say it's worth buying an Xbox. It's my personal thoughts.
I mean, it's hard to make the argument for it because the best games you can play on it are
old.
Yeah.
Most of them you play on PC.
Yeah.
Like,
well, all of them, all the exclusives you can play on PC.
Oh, I meant like backwards compatible from the 360 days.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and like PlayStation, like buy a PlayStation. Like, okay, yeah, the graphics are a little better on the Xbox just because it's just more powerful, but that's not worth it to me because you get way better games on Playstation.
Mm-hmm.
Way better. If you're buying one right now, buy PlayStation.
This kind of ties in. Yeah, this kind of ties in, guys, to sort of the last thing I wanted to touch on. We've already talked about some of the types of games that Xbox needs in order to really compete again with Sony, but the last thing I want to touch on here in news is that, during the EA investor call, they kind of revealed some sales numbers, and Microsoft hates this because they don't reveal their console sales numbers for a reason. But Xbox One has sold just over 30 million units so far. That's including your One X sales, by the way. Compared to over 70 million PlayStation 4. So the gap has actually grown. It used to be like 2 to 1. It has grown beyond that at this point. And I think when we talk about the console wars, I think we're asking the wrong question. A lot of people are asking the wrong question at this point, which is like, how does Xbox catch PlayStation? They're not going to catch PlayStation in this generation. That was decided like 3 years ago.
Yeah, they need to set up for the next generation,
Yes.
if there even is a next generation in the same sense.
So
And I don't think there is.
So here's the question.
I'll let you go.
Here's the question. Are they on the right track to close the gap?
No. Not even close.
Well,
Not at the moment.
so I'll say yes and no, because I think in terms of like the service side of it, like the Xbox Live side of it, I think they're doing some really good things there.
Well, and the system too, right?
Yeah,
They have
with the
them on
system.
there.
I mean, they have the most powerful console out there right now. But I think we're proving that it's really about the games, isn't it?
Yes. And honestly, how much has changed from last generation? Like, okay, sure, backwards compatibility, but you could buy a lot of original Xbox games on the 360. So, to me, like, minus Games Pass, what's changed?
Recently, not a whole lot, but since 2014, quite a bit. I mean, within, like, Xbox Live.
But how, though? Like online hasn't changed that much. Honestly, it's just been basically, like, overhaul of, like, how it looks. And yes, I think Xbox looks better menu-wise than PlayStation.
Well, no, they've added the new features, and they created that site where people gave ideas of things they wanted. Not just, like, which backwards compatible games they wanted, but, like, other features that they wanted as well. And Microsoft's been pretty responsive about adding those in over the last few years. So, I mean, I'm not going to say they've done nothing. They've actually done a decent amount there. But ultimately, it comes down to the games that you have. And I think it's not just games. I think it's games and it's price. So, yeah, the Xbox One X is fantastic, but it's also $500.
$100 more than a PS4 Pro.
Yeah, you can get any PlayStation. You can get the best PlayStation out there for $100 cheaper than that. So, price matters. And this is what crushed Microsoft at the beginning of this generation. And you think they would have learned. But they didn't. And remember, a year ago right now, Graham, you remember, we were all basically like begging Microsoft on this show to put out the One X, well, the Scorpio at that point, for $400.
Yep,
Yes.
I remember that. I was listening back then.
Yeah.
And
Begging them to put it out for $400. Not because we wanted to save $100, but because we thought that would be really impactful.
I think
Yes.
I predicted 500. I'll be honest with you.
You did.
No, and I think you guys thought that 500 was like what was going to happen, all of you, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
Yep.
But yeah, I remember being like, yeah, $400 seems like the correct price, and anything more, like, you honestly have to take the loss a little bit.
You
So
do.
like, but then again, it would have been easier to take the loss if they had games that were actually out
Yeah,
that made
kinda.
it worth it, and they didn't, and that was part of the problem.
Yeah. But you think not only should they learn from 2013, but they should have learned from last generation too, because, you know, Sony launched PlayStation 3. First of all, it was a year after the 360, which hurt them dramatically. But second, it was dramatically more expensive. And part of that's because it had the Blu-ray drive in it, which
Yes.
was new technology at that point.
Yep.
But it was still a lot more expensive. And I think that might be part of why Sony's a little hesitant to include the 4K drive in their console now. I think they still might be feeling that a little bit from back then because they bought in to that new tech back then when really in 2006 still, like, the amount of people that had HD sets at that point was not that great. Like, the percentage for, like, penetration was not that high. So I think they might be a little hesitant of that. I think it's misguided at this point. But I think that's part of it. But Microsoft should have learned from all of that and said, you know, price matters a lot. And if you're going to charge more, you damn well better have the better library of games to play. And they don't. So, we'll find out a lot more around E3, guys. Anything
Yes.
else to add for that before we wrap that up?
No, honestly, I just feel guilty because I've been just beating the shit out of Microsoft in the last 6 or 7 episodes. And, like, I can't stress this enough. Like, I love my Xbox.
Yeah.
PlayStation has the better games. And I honestly wish I loved my PlayStation as much as I love my Xbox, because then I'd play all those games to completion, probably. It's just shitty. I hope Microsoft succeeds, and but I also hope Sony comes out with some more stuff than they say they're going to. And I just want everyone to win, you know, because
Yeah.
Never mind.
Well, and early on, like if you go back all the way back to the early episodes of this show, we used to knock Sony for not having any games.
It's true. They used to announce games like 7 years out.
Yeah, they didn't have anything, and they talked about all this stuff that was coming. But it's pretty clear at this point they were playing the long game, and they're winning.
Yep.
Because they put the time in to develop these games, and when every single one comes out, with maybe not even maybe, the exception of the Order 1886, like every other game has been pretty much a Game of the Year contender. And really, the Order wasn't even that bad. What did it get, like 8 or 7.5 or 7, something like that? I don't know, somewhere in there.
The only reason people like shit on it, and rightly so in my opinion, but it was like 4 hours long. You can't charge $60 for a 4-hour game.
No,
That's
you can't.
ridiculous.
Yep.
That's 2 movies, so $40 max.
Yep. No, I agree. But even that game wasn't reviewed that badly overall. And I remember the feedback on that game. It was like, it looks fantastic. It's just super short, which sounds a lot like Rise on the Xbox One. Yep. Except I'll bet you the Order's a better game than Rise.
Probably. Except Rise did have a kind of interesting story.
A little bit.
It's just, you all know how much I love completing stuff, so.
Well, but a lot of the QTE, and it's really repetitive and all that stuff.
Yeah, gameplay did turn me off of that.
Yeah.
But the story was not bad. But that's just has more to do with me loving, like, Greco-Roman, like, mythology and its era than liking the game.
Yeah. All right, we're losing Graham here, so we got to move on. Graham's already thinking about how to ruin next year's E3. So,
or how best to defend Nintendo.
Yeah. All right, let's go into deals, everybody.
Now in stores.
And we'll start with Xbox. So, Games with Gold this month. Or actually, let's go into releases first. So, we got City Skylines Natural Disasters coming out on the 15th. We got Hitman Definitive Edition also on the 15th. And State of Decay 2. That big release Graham's talking about that's going to make us forget all about Sony.
And will be available on Game Pass.
It will be available on Game Pass, which is pretty awesome. So that's
my parents' birthday, too.
Both
in case you're wondering. Both of them.
That's amazing.
That is impressive.
And their anniversary's on the same day.
No, shut up, Graham. You're such a liar.
True. No, it's true.
That's awesome. Well, happy anniversary birthdays to Graham's parents if they're listening.
Yeah.
Your parents should be listening, Graham. We're amazing.
Yes. Graham's parents. We love you for bringing Graham to us. Nintendo loves you more.
I can assure you.
Nintendo appreciates you.
It's not. No pessimism at all, but I assure you my parents are not listening.
All right. But anyway, State of Decay 2 on the 18th. You get that with Xbox Game Pass, which is actually, we've, like Steve said, we've kind of crapped on Xbox a little bit. But let's be fair.
A little bit.
Getting exclusive games on launch day via Game Pass is pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
That's huge.
It is.
It's great service.
That's like getting God of War for free when it released.
Yeah, like that's going to happen.
But that's what I mean.
That's the one thing Microsoft does is it feels like they actually kind of give a shit about you with their service, just not with their games.
Yeah.
Whereas Sony's the opposite.
But State of Decay 2 might be amazing. We'll see. And we're probably going to do our first spoiler cast about State of Decay 2. And that'll probably come the week before E3, everybody. So
I'll give you a little spoiler. I'm going to hate zombies.
Yeah, probably. So, Games with Gold. Super Mega Baseball 2. You can still get that May 1st through the 31st. And starting next week on the 16th, you can get Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. Free with Games with Gold. So that's pretty awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's the last Hideo Kojima game you'll ever see on the Xbox.
Probably, yeah. Well, first of all, it takes him like 12 years to make one. And
that's true.
Yeah. So now he's got a Sony deal. And I remember, do you remember last year when they last year or the year before, when they announced him?
I think year before.
In their conference. And it was like, literally it was like the only person who might, and I stress the word might, get a bigger entrance is if, like, God himself. appear on the Sony stage.
I'd say it was like he
That's
was
true.
4 or something like that.
Yeah. So, but it was something to see. So, yeah, I agree with you, Steve. That's probably the last Kojima game we're going to play.
But it was a
on
masterpiece.
Xbox. It was great.
So
It was
you can't,
fantastic.
it was a great game, though, too. So, yeah, definitely check that out. But PlayStation games, we'll go right into that. Releases all those games that Tyler mentioned, but for the first time, one of them is not coming to PlayStation, which is State of Decay. But the other two, Hitman and Cities, are coming to PlayStation. But as well, you have Dragon's Crown Pro and Forgotten Annie on the 15th of May to check out. And for free games for the month, if you are a PS Plus member, Beyond Two Souls and Rayman Legends. And then, so Graham, you want to tell us about Nintendo?
Oh, I sure do, because there is a big title, huge. No, I haven't played this game because this game really didn't appeal to me. I kind of might get it this time. It's remastered. It is Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. Will be coming to the Nintendo Switch. This game was just the Wii U, I think. I don't think it was on the DS. So that you can pick that up at May the 18th. On the 17th, you can get the Banner Saga. And then on the 15th, seems like I'm going backwards here, you can get Battle Chasers Night War. And that will be on the 15th of May. That's what I got.
All right, let's move into questions. Steve, what do you got for us?
Fan
All right,
mail.
first question. We'll go with Stan from Facebook. Asks, does it seem like games are getting easier to beat?
Now, okay, I'm going to say yes, because I'm just going to compare it to the old school days where you had 3 lives, no saves, which it's understandable now without long games taking stuff like that. But yes, like even God of War, that's a good example. I played it on the next one up from normal. I think that's what it was. Was it Steven? We talked about this.
No, you played on normal.
Oh, I played on normal.
Yeah,
Which
you just thought you were better than you were.
there should be a little bit of a challenge to it. But besides 2 bosses, I went through it relatively easy. So yeah, and there's other games now too where it just seems like they are easier to beat. They're not like devastating. Like I remember playing games and you'd have like so many continues or so many lives, like Nintendo and Super Nintendo. Those are good examples. And yeah, those games are hard. And most games that I played back then on the regular NES, I didn't beat because they were just so bloody hard. So but there's still some games come out, but I think they try to like stay away from making it ridiculously hard, because like I can't think of that game right now. The one based on 30s cartoons.
Cuphead?
Oh, Cuphead.
Cuphead, because that game was super difficult, and then they had to like revamp it. It's like, okay, we need to make an easier mode because people are gonna be turned away from this game being too difficult.
I remember during development of that game, Phil Spencer kept saying, like, he would visit their studio and be like, you got to dial down the difficulty on this, guys. And then we got the release version, which had dialed down, and it was still really hard. So sorry, Greg, go ahead.
But it did have an easy mode, so you can't fully say that, like...
Well, that's what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Like, they make it easier. And, like, even... Sorry, I'm going to pick another example. Is, like, Fallout. Now they have, like, survival. So if that game was like survival right from the beginning, like that game would be super hard, but they stay away from that. And then there's other games where you only have 1 life, and if you die, then you start right from the beginning. But they see this as kind of a turnoff, so they are deliberately making games easier, I think.
I agree partly. I think games give you more options. And you can't be pissed at people for wanting options.
No.
The only games that don't are the Dark Souls series, the Soulsborne series, and Neo, because that was in the same genre, where like you can't turn the difficulty down, and they're hard as fuck. Well, until you learn the mannerisms of the game. But most games have option levels, and to be honest, to try and complete more games, I've been turning the game on easy. Like Dark Souls is Dark Souls, and I love those games, and I like how hard they are. But there are certain games where it's like, this is just stupid how hard, and it's so contrived. Call of Duty. Most of those campaigns, it's like, why play on veteran? It's so dumb. They just throw enemies at you until you reach a certain point in the level. That's dumb. Uncharted, same way. The story's cool. The gameplay sucks. And I don't want to play this on hard. And that's my thing. So, yeah, I think games are a little easier to beat, but I think you have the option of making games difficult as fuck, for the most part. And then there are still those games, and people appreciate them, like Dark Souls, where they're just hard, and you can't change it, but they're still fun. And honestly, Dark Souls, you can make it a little easier by just summoning people. So, you do have a little bit of choice.
So I'll go real quick.
Yeah.
You know, I think in a vacuum, the answer to that is yes. Games are a lot easier to beat today. But people have changed too. And when we think back to like the original NES or even the generations right after that or right after that, you know, since then, you know, we've started to talk about people have shorter attention spans, right? We're used to getting information super fast and not being as patient for things and not being as willing to work as much for things. In terms of like getting information and getting feedback on things really fast. We're used to now like just being able to like go on our phone, search for something and have instant answers. Right? So I think that translates to gaming too. Like, you know, instant gratification, things like that. You know, I think a lot of people value that. And I think if you put out games that had the difficulty of games 30 years ago, nobody would want to play them. And now when you see games like Dark Souls that just have a like set difficulty to them, they're valued and they're unique, but the reality is like that's how almost every game was back in the day. And the other thing that makes a difference now too is back then there were no updates to games. And now you get to put in, plug in as many updates as you want, fix things, do this, do that. So games had to be more thorough and refined and finished at launch than they do now. So I think more attention to detail was paid to those games back then. And they were just harder because they were more polished and finished and the challenge level was just different. So it's not good or bad. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just what it is.
Yeah. And I'll ask then, based on how it is now, are you guys happy with the fact that there's no cheat codes anymore? Because if you remember, like, every game back in the day had cheat codes, and most of them were to make the game easier, like invincibility, like unlimited ammo, a dope-ass gun, or just, like, funny. But now there's no cheat codes. And, like, GTA still kind of keeps it alive a little bit, but I actually don't remember punching in any cheat codes for GTA 5. 4 was the last one I thought had cheat codes. I could be wrong.
Remember, you'd bring up your phone and you'd dial up, and then a helicopter would appear out of nowhere?
Yeah, I love that
awesome.
shit.
Yeah.
Do you guys miss cheat codes?
No. I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, it's kind of a cool, fun thing in games, but at the same time, like, I don't know. I like feeling like I beat a game, you know, not needed to take a shortcut or cut a corner to do that.
But is playing on easy any different than using a cheat code to give you unlimited health or...
No,
like,
it's just you use a cheat code at the beginning.
Yeah.
You know? So...
That's what I mean.
You don't have to remember letters and numbers.
True.
You just select easy. Yeah. So... Yeah, I mean, it's kind of replaced that, I guess. And remember, we don't have, like, the Nintendo Power Hotline anymore.
Yeah.
To call. Graham, did you ever call that?
No, I never called it.
Okay.
My mom would kill me.
Yeah, they charge you, like, what? Like $3, like, every minute?
$3 a minute or something?
Yeah. I think it might have even been more than that.
Yeah, it could have been more than that.
Yeah, that may have been generous. It's Nintendo after all.
If any of our listeners, if you have... if you got the old Nintendo Power and you still have some copies laying around, look it up and let us know. You know, the Gaming Hub Podcast at gmail.com. We'd appreciate that. Or head on over.
Or on Discord or
Facebook. Yeah, Facebook or Discord. Let us know there too. The Gaming Hub forums on Facebook or on Twitch, TXH Gaming Hub. And you can find the link to our Discord there. So... Yeah, I mean, I do remember that being a thing, the hotline. That's no longer a deal because you can just go look anything up on YouTube. So,
yep.
But anyway, what do we got next?
All right, Skylar asked, we kind of touched on this earlier, but Yes, what video game protagonist do you think has had the best character development throughout their franchise?
There's a few. I'm going to just go quickly choose one. I'm going to say Lara Croft.
Okay.
There's actually even comparison videos where you can see how she changed over the years, how she went from triangles to better shapes.
That's not character development, Graham.
That's
But-
just like crap.
That's polygon development.
Yeah, but with that came her character too, and like as the new reboot franchise came, they really like dug deep into character development.
Yes,
They
I'd
did.
say
Like-
between the two new games and what I assume will be the third game, they've developed her character quite well. I don't compare her character to like the polygon triangle boob era. That's not. I don't think that counts.
Well, it's a
but-
character being developed.
Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe.
Listen, it's my answer.
Sure, you can
Yeah.
have your answer. You're wrong, but yeah.
Okay. Steve, what's yours?
Kratos. I mean,
Okay.
like, from the first, and I say 3, I know there was like 10, but the first 3 God of War is like the main games. 1, 2, and 3, and then in this new one. Like, Kratos has been developed. And honestly, like I said this in the YouTube videos, if you watched, there's a general feeling of like, he's the same character, but 20 years in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of games don't do that very well.
Yeah.
Like, you know it's Kratos, but it's also Kratos as like he's like mellowed out a little bit, but he's still Kratos and he's still kind of a douche. But you love him for it. He has developed more than any character I can think. Because Master Chief, not so much.
No.
And we talked
And
about earlier.
Marcus Phoenix, not hardly at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Dom was the character development of the Gears of War series.
Yeah.
As
And
I-
if you can sum up Kratos in the new God of War in one word, it would be boy.
yeah,
So-
but that doesn't change his development. That-
No,
Right.
no, but no, I'm
That's
just
what-
saying. I'm
But
just
see,
saying.
the fact that he says that though is why I'm like, that's why it still goes back to his olden days. He was like the cocky, like douchey, listen to me type.
I'm gonna kill
protagonist.
you.
And I hesitate to call him a protagonist. He was more like an anti-hero, in a way.
And
So that's me. I don't know about you, Tyler.
So for me, like when I saw this question, the first game that popped into my head, it was a game I hadn't thought about in a while, but I played, finished, was the last Max Payne game. And when we saw that the last game that came out, Max Payne was a character that was fast forward again into the future, Steve, like you're talking about. And that character was relatively broken and, defeated in a lot of ways. And you saw that character sort of fighting through his demons through the course of that game. And it made the game more impactful because it is character development. And it's a very different experience to see that protagonist fighting through that in that way. So I like games like that. Kind of the same reason I like seeing what some movie franchises do when they revisit a series, 10 to 20 years later to see where that character is at now, because they shouldn't be like the ass-kicking character they were 20 years ago. They should be different. And to see that is kind of cool, and it presents a new dynamic to the game. So that's mine. That was just the first one I thought of.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
Yeah.
I didn't really give much thought to it, but Kratos definitely popped out.
Yeah.
For me.
Sure. What do we got?
All right, next question. Brian asks, name a game you immediately regretted buying.
Destiny. Not Destiny. Sorry. Well, no, not immediately. The Division.
Okay.
Okay.
Mine was Brink. It looks so awesome, and it's just ahead of its time, I think. It would have been good if it came out like now. It was trying too much back on the 360 to be any good, and it wasn't worth 60 because it didn't work. So that was for sure my game. But
Yep.
Division's a good answer as well.
Yeah. Steve, you took mine. Brink.
I never played it.
Yeah.
I didn't know you tried that game.
Yeah, it was just, it had so much hype around it, and then you get your hands on, and you're just like, oh, this is it.
It didn't work. That was
No,
my-
it didn't. It was just, it was terrible, and yeah, it was unfortunate. Like, Graham, the Division, like, my disappointment in the Division now is equal to yours, but early on, I didn't mind the game at all.
I like the beta more than anything.
I know.
Beta, I didn't like it.
Yeah, I actually like the release version fine. Now I hated it, later on when I played it, when you go into the Dark Zone, because there's just so much trolling that goes on in there, and I can't stand that. Like, I have no problem with, a player getting the better of me in a multiplayer area. Like, that's fine. That happens, whatever. But when it's just sincere, like, trolling, and it's just stupid, like, that's no fun. And I want nothing to do with that. So, yeah, that, like, I liked the sort of campaign aspect of the Division, but once it got into the Dark Zone, I was done with that. So anyway, we got time for one more?
Yeah, next question. DZ from Discord asks, do you think game devs have spent too much time on side quests and have sacrificed other aspects of the main story? What games, if any, have done side quests well? I have an answer to the second question. Sunset Overdrive. I was reaching for the name. Did side quests very well. I loved the side quests in that game. They didn't feel like fetch quests, and they were just fun. Most of them were pop culture ridden, like references. Yep. I remember there was a Breaking Bad reference. There was absolutely a Lord of the Rings reference, among other things. And that game had great side quests. Skyrim, on the other hand, has those Radiant quests or like fetch quest galore, or they're just randomized shit to keep you busy. And Fallout 4 for sure has the same type of quests where it's like, hey, go here, steal these 3 things or 500 gold worth of stuff, and then come back. Well, okay, and it just sends you to some random ass house. Like, that's not doing it well. But I don't think game devs have spent too much time on side quests. I can't think of any game that had great side quests, but the main story suffered. It seems like they have a great main story, and then if they have time, they add good side quests, like The Witcher, Sunset Overdrive, etc. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's just my thoughts.
Real quick, the first game that popped into my head was Sunset Overdrive as well, but you kind of covered that. So I'm also going to throw out Grand Theft Auto 5. I thought the side quests in that were pretty fun. Like, they were different. There's a lot of variation. They seem to be well thought out and more designed around just kind of having fun in the game. And, like, I really enjoyed that, and it makes me really look forward to Red Dead Redemption 2 this fall. So, Graham, anything?
Yes, I was trying to think and try to come up with ones. I know there's a few ones, but one off the top of my head, I'm going to say Breath of the Wild, because it wasn't like, go get this, fetch this kind of thing, and you didn't have to like go really long distances to achieve them, and they kind of got you to explore more, and I'm sure there's ones out there that I didn't even see as well. So I feel like that one done it very, very good. What else? Oh, but no, like, I don't think they've, because like I've thought that too. I'm like, all right, they should have focused more on the main story, but I think they just bring in more people, and you're like, okay, you're gonna work on like side quests and stuff like that, because for the most part they seem like they're really well done and stuff like that, and they're just not like thrown in there. Like, I know some games where what comes to mind is kind of an Assassin's Creed where you got to collect all these stupid little things way up in these certain areas, which, like, I kind of got tired. I didn't even really play it. I watched somebody do it, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I really want to do this. So, yeah, that's my quick answers there.
All right, cool. Well, that's all the time we have for questions this week, everybody. So thank you for sending them in. Continue to send them in, because we kind of keep a list of questions. And even if we don't get to it the week you ask it, we very well may ask it on the next episode or the one after that. So
never know.
Yeah. So thank you for sending those in. Appreciate it. Please continue to do that. And if you're listening to the show and would like to have your question read on the air, feel free to join our community. We'd love to have you. Head on over to Facebook. The Gaming Hub forum's there. Head on over to Twitch, TXH Gaming Hub. When you're there, you can click on the links for either Facebook or Discord. Those are probably the best ways to get questions in. But you can also submit them via Twitter at TXH Gaming Hub. Follow us there. We'd appreciate it. We put a lot of stuff up on YouTube as well. We'd love to have you come and subscribe to us there. And that is the Gaming Hub Podcast on YouTube. So please check us out there. Hit subscribe. We'd really appreciate that as well. So that's going to do it.
Don't forget YouTube. Check out our YouTube content.
Yeah.
And there's tons of links down below in the description too. So it makes it easy to find all these locations where you can find us and comment and follow along.
Yep. All right. That's going to do it for episode number 95, everybody. We thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate that. We'll be back next week with episode number 96 of The Gaming Hub. Until then, for Graham and Steve, I'm Tyler saying thank you again for joining us this week. We'll be back next week. Until then, have a great week, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.
Have a good
Be
Mother's
safe
Day, everyone.
And play some great
Mother's
games.
Day.
And happy Mother's Day.